What up, everyone, and welcome to The Social Room, where strategic networking meets insightful business conversations. I'm your host, Aiden Snell, and this show is designed to connect you with business leaders, visionaries, and entrepreneurs who are not only crushing it and making waves within their industries, but who might also just share the game that can take you to the next level. In each episode, we'll explore the stories of these business owners and how they're impacting lives. Who knows? You might just find your next big opportunity right here on this episode. So sit back, tune in, and let's get social. All right, guys, today we are joined by the one and only Jodie Blum, founder and CEO of the Collective Social Impact Agency. Jodie, how are you today?
I'm great, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us on this episode. Jodie, tell us a little bit about yourself real quick. Where are you from? What are you passionate about?
Yep, so I'm actually from the South Florida, Miami area, born and raised. Spent my adult life in California, the Bay Area, and LA. And then moved back to Miami in 2019. Good timing. And what am I passionate? I'm passionate about being a good human, inspiring other humans, being the best mom I can be, and just loving life.
Let's go. I love that. Well, awesome, Jodie. Again, thanks for being on the show today. To start off, we're going to get right into what I call the Power 5. I'm going to ask you 5 power questions, and you're going to give me your best answers. No pressure. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. Question number 1. What's been your most valuable lesson from failure?
Ooh, to always believe in myself, double down, and just never count myself out.
Nice. If you had to start over, what's the first thing you'd do differently, Jodie?
Make sure I had a business development team member.
I love that. What's the best investment you've made in your business?
I hate to go back to believing in myself, but really that, and just relationship building, like nurturing relationships is everything.
If you could master one skill, what would it be and why?
Dancing like Beyonce, just because it's always, it's a vain dream, but like, I don't know, it's just something I've never mastered that would be amazing, even for a day.
I love it. I could so see you hitting some Beyonce moves, you know, nobody's looking. What's your proudest moment in business so far?
Touching people's lives, making a difference.
I love it. Well, awesome, Jodie. Nice and sweet and simple. You crushed it. That concludes the Power 5. So now I want to dive deeper into your company, right? The Collective Social Impact Agency. Tell me about how you got started in this space and how you began this company, right? I'd love to hear that journey from how you got started in the market and really what led you to starting this company up.
Yeah, absolutely. So I went to business school. After I got out, I was in large-scale event production. It's always been in my DNA, to be philanthropic, but I didn't really know at that time that's where I was going to head. I was fortunate that I was doing multimillion-dollar events, but at the end of the day, I left and I was like, it just felt empty. Like, wow, that could have fed a whole country or could have changed a community, and instead there was Ferris wheels and a NASA hangar. It was great, but to me, it wasn't purposeful. So I pivoted, started doing philanthropic events, and then was very fortunate very early on in my career. I found my way into working for one of Hollywood's biggest actors and directors, and just found my niche. I was very comfortable in this space. I immediately had this aha moment of, I know how to market this. I know how to harness the power of their voice and really do something good with it and transformational with it. So that kind of led me into stepping stones of the career in social impact. From there, I went and worked for an NFL Hall of Famer and his foundation and did some incredible work, and then just really kind of took off from there. I was always very entrepreneurial. So worked independently with, leaders in sports and entertainment, which has been really the vertical I've built of my career for over 25 years now. And then I had one in-house opportunity where I was recruited and went to build a division of the Grammys, which was, it was a very rewarding undertaking. I built a whole division for university students pursuing a career in the music industry. So in a short amount of time, we built over a membership division of over 10,000 students at 400 schools and universities, was doing over 200 events a year specifically for these students, with really just unprecedented access to industry leaders, talent, craftspeople. And then I really kind of just wanted to go back out on my own and continue what I was doing. So I rebranded an agency I had, which is now The Collective, and that's been over 10 years now.
Wow, that's incredible, Jodie. I love that. Such an amazing journey and amazing story. So tell me more specifically, who are the people that you're helping within The Collective?
Yep, so I really focus on working with leaders in sports, entertainment, and global brands. Most of them are professional athletes, artists, entertainers, executives. Really, they have a genuine desire to give back and utilize their platforms, but they don't necessarily have a clear roadmap of how to do that, or individuals with expertise on how to maximize their efforts. So that's where I come in and help really build a strategic vision that is focused on sustainability, scalability, and meaningful impact.
Amazing. Okay. And more specifically, in that niche, right, of global brand and athletes, what is it that you feel like is their pain, their problems that you really come in and solve?
I always say, what you don't know, you don't know. And oftentimes, especially in the professional athlete world or entertainer world, there's teams around them that necessarily have their niche and have their expertise, and this is definitely not one of them. Or family members that get involved, with a very altruistic, intention, but this isn't it. It's a business. I always talk about this. There's a business to philanthropy. And especially when you're working with high profile individuals, this is a major part of their brand. So it should be matched at their brand level and become a part of, everything they do, their voice, integrated into, their voice, their business, and their legacy. So the pain points to me, I would kind of point out a few. Really, philanthropy is not just about writing checks or putting your name on something. It's about compliance, governance, and really impact measurements. And I've seen a lot of really great intentions, kind of be at a loss or, or even go sideways, just again, because of lack of experience or knowledge in those spaces. And then the second is really understanding the importance of strategic relationships with your donors, with brand partnerships. These are integral for your scalability and how your organization is going to not only grow, but survive and make an impact, whether it's around a social issue or in specific communities that you want to help. And those relationships not only need to be nurtured, but they really need to have a win-win situation. They're usually looking for a marketability or something to obviously integrate, their brand or who they are as a donor, and you have to really have an understanding of marketing to level that up and keep that growing. And then there's the storytelling piece is the third one I would say is kind of a pain point, is oftentimes my clients are just people that I meet and talk to them about philanthropy. It's really hard for them to concisely communicate what they stand for or who they're trying to help and why they're trying to help. And it's to their core audience, it's to potential partners, and that's really where that 360 brand work comes into play, because their purpose should be deeply embedded in everything they do.
I love that. Jodie, tell me what happens when they ignore those three major pain points, those three major problems.
Yeah, so in philanthropy, there's a lot of implications. There's obviously the tax implications, there's the legal implications, there's IRS audits, and there's a very good potential of damaging a reputation. There's a loss of very important business relationships if something happens that's not compliant. There's a risk to board of directors, which obviously many of them that align with high profile individuals have their own visibility, right? So they need to be protected. There's kind of a multitude of ways that individuals can be harmed in this space, that again, it just really requires an expertise to have a 30,000 foot eye on all the moving pieces, and really protect that brand image as well as the organization. And then also, there's what I like to say is like the emotional loss. People get involved in this, or companies get involved in this because they really do want to give back and they want to help. And if that falls short because of a lack of expertise, or just, for a lack of governance and compliance, you're not only losing, your money put in, which is the smallest kind of factor in the big picture, but again, your brand can be, you're damaged. And then also the implications of the communities or the issue that you're trying to support, right? That's the biggest thing. Like, at the end of the day, there's not, the help you wanted to provide is not being achieved.
Got it. Makes sense. So, Jody, let's say I'm a professional athlete or a worldwide brand. Tell me what that process looks like A to Z, from, new client all the way to fulfilled.
Yeah, so people come to me with a multitude of, integration points. It can be consulting from initial phase, like you said, which is, what do you really want to do? Let's talk about that. I go through a pretty big education process. I'm definitely not a proponent of everybody should start a foundation, especially professional athletes and entertainers. There's really a lot of touch points, depending on where they are in their career, number one, and how long that they want to fulfill this. Is this a lifelong legacy, effort? Is your family going to be involved? So there's a pretty big education process on that, and especially even to mention now with these NIL athletes and how young they're starting, and people are throwing this, oh, you should start a charity at them. No. Let's pause. Let's take first steps and empower you, embolden you to know how you should take those steps throughout your career. When's the right time to make bigger moves? So that's first and foremost, developing a brand identity that obviously, again, as I said before, really integrates with your professional brand, whether that's a corporate entity and or an individual. And then really building out programs and initiatives that are going to make the biggest impact and that are going to be scalable, looking for the right strategic partners, depending, again, on an authentic alignment, as well as, what it serves to the individual or the company. And then oftentimes people come to me that already have an organization or already have things going that need restructuring or strategic planning or partnerships or talent integration. So I really kind of get approached on a multitude of capabilities, which is great because I want to, help as many people I can make the biggest impact. So yeah, that's really, there's a variety of ways that we kind of go from A to Z.
That's awesome, Jody. I love it. Can you walk me through some of your client success stories? And I'd really love to hear the transformation that had on their lives, on their brands, and them overall.
Yeah, absolutely. So one example I'll give you was a corporate entity because it was a pretty significant impact. It was a global skincare, or is a global skincare brand. Unfortunately, the CEO and founder took his life to suicide. So the company felt it was extremely important to really, build a corporate entity that was really surrounded around destigmatizing and normalized conversations around mental health, which I've been immersed in for many years. I'm incredibly passionate about. So we set off to really build this storytelling and content component high-level, high-profile artists and athletes to be vulnerable and talk about their own personal journeys around mental health and different issues within that space. We did a partnership with the NBA, a content partnership around this and some of the teams, which was obviously incredibly impactful, because the more people that can see this and relate to it are, going to see themselves in someone else's situation and not feel alone. Then we also branched out where their headquarters were and worked with the county government, as well as 5 of the local professional sports teams. Did a suicide prevention campaign that was really coveted throughout, the whole city in 3 languages. And
Wow.
in 1 month, which is September Suicide Prevention Month, it reached over 20 million people. So
Wow.
I'm really proud of that. I'm doing it again this year. We've done it for a number of consecutive years. This year I'm doing it with NAMI. I'm really excited. So continuing that. On the artist and athlete side, let's see, picking from a multitude of people. I worked for many years with a Grammy award-winning artist who was very passionate about foster youth and really wanted to make sure that young individuals that often feel unseen and don't have the necessary opportunities as everybody else always were involved. So we did a music boot camp where, again, we really brought some of the biggest talent and industry leaders to not only give them unprecedented access, but really teach them about, a multitude of ways that they can get involved in the industry, because they were obviously all very interested in that space. And it's something I'm passionate about because I'm also a foster mom myself.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Awesome, Jody. I love it. I love it. It's so great that you're able to really make a difference in these brands, and those differences have an even bigger make a bigger difference on the world. That's awesome. How can people work with you? Where can they find you, Jody?
So my website is thecollective.com. There's a dash between the O and the L, so it's the co-llective.com. On social, it's collective Social Impact on Instagram. You can find me on LinkedIn, Jodie Blum, and feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to help and talk about, how people are trying to make a difference. It really just starts with a conversation, and always happy to do that.
Amazing. Any last words for the audience, Jody?
Just do good, be kind.
That's awesome. Well, thanks again so much for joining us on an episode of The Social Room. It's been an honor having you.
Thank you for having me. It was great.
And that is a wrap on this episode of The Social Room. I hope you found some great insights and maybe even some potential opportunities and ideas. Remember, the connections you make today could be the game changers of tomorrow. If you're interested in continuing the conversation or exploring potential partnerships, don't hesitate to reach out. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with a friend who needs to hear it. Stay tuned until next time.